They told you love is beautiful. They told you love is soft. They told you love is gentle hands and warm nights and a heart that finally feels safe. But no one told you the other side. No one warned you about the fire. No one said that real love does not heal first. Real love destroys. Real love kills everything that is weak and fake inside you. Rumi knew this. He wrote that love is a blade made of light, a blade that cuts lies, a blade that shatters the prison of the ego. And only after this destruction can truth appear. Most people run from this part of love. They want comfort without transformation. They want joy without pain. They want connection without surrender. But Rumi wrote that love demands everything. It demands your pride. It demands your masks. It demands the small self that is built from fear and habit. For Rumi, love was not a sweet dream. Love was a violent awakening, a storm that tears the soul open, a fire that burns the old identity to ash. People think violence is only physical, but Rumi spoke of a deeper violence, a sacred violence, the kind that breaks illusions and forces the soul to face itself. When the heart opens, the ego screams. The ego does not want to die. It will bargain. It will lie. It will fight. It will say that love is too painful, too risky, too dangerous. But love continues. Love pushes. Love breaks every hiding place. This is why many people never truly love. It is not because love is rare. It is because surrender is rare. You cannot stay the same and be in love. Something must collapse. Something must die. Rumi wrote that the beloved arrives like a thief, stealing everything you thought you were and leaving only the truth. Imagine a wall that you built around your heart. You built it to feel safe. You built it to protect yourself from pain. You built it after betrayal or loss or disappointment. The wall worked. It kept the world away, but it also kept life away. Then one day love arrives, and the wall begins to crack. The cracks scare you. They hurt. You think the world is falling apart, but it is not the world. It is only the prison. The wall breaks, the heart shakes, and you feel everything, the beauty, the fear, the hope, the risk. That is the violence of love. Rumi wrote that the soul is like a candle. For the flame to rise, the wax must melt. Transformation always feels like death. The old shape disappears. The new shape is not yet born. This is the moment when most people run. They believe love is supposed to feel safe. But Rumi said that safety is for the sleeping. Love is for the awake. Love burns the lies you tell yourself. Love breaks the pride that keeps you alone. Love destroys the fear that keeps you small. After this destruction, the heart becomes open, pure, alive. Rumi did not write poems for comfort. He wrote poems that shake the soul. He wrote that love is the strongest force in the universe because love changes the one thing nothing else can change. The self, not the body, not the world, the self. Love reaches inside and turns darkness to light, even if the darkness fights, even if the darkness cries. The transformation continues. When the old self dies, a new self rises. This is why Rumi called love a kind of death and a kind of rebirth. A violent death of illusion, a gentle birth of truth. And this is only the beginning. Because the deeper the love, the deeper the destruction. In the next part, you will hear why Rumi said that love is the only power strong enough to break the ego completely, and why the ego will do anything to survive, even if it means killing the truth inside you. Rumi wrote that every human being is born with two selves. One is the false self made of fear and pride. The other is the true self made of love and light. The false self wants control, certainty, protection, and a predictable life. The true self wants truth, even if truth hurts. The battle between these two selves is silent, but every person feels it. When love arrives, that battle becomes a war. The false self knows it is about to die. The true self knows it is about to live. This is why love feels like violence. It is the destruction of everything that is not real. Most people do not understand why love hurts. They think pain means something is wrong. But Rumi said pain is the evidence that the heart is waking. When the heart wakes, it breaks open. When it breaks, old wounds rise to the surface. All the fear, shame, and secrets that were buried inside begin to move. Love forces them out. Love demands honesty. Love demands vulnerability. The walls that protected you also imprisoned you. Love destroys those walls. Imagine a person who has been alone inside their own heart for many years. They have convinced themselves that they do not need anyone. They have convinced themselves that love is weakness. Then someone touches their soul, not with hands, with presence, with attention, with truth. Suddenly the walls begin to shake. The person feels exposed, scared, and alive. This is not gentle. This is not soft. It feels like something is being ripped open. But it is not destruction of the soul. It is destruction of the chains around it. Rumi said that love is a mirror. When you look into it, you do not see the mask you show the world. You see your real face. You see your wounds. You see your beauty. You see your lies. You see everything you tried to hide from yourself. Some people run from this mirror. They call it dangerous. They call it painful. But Rumi said, pain is not the enemy. Pain is the doorway. Pain is the signal that the soul is waking up. When love is real, it forces you to grow. You cannot stay small. You cannot stay silent. You cannot stay hidden. You have to let go of the old story. You have to let go of the person you pretended to be. Growth is violent. It pulls you out of your old skin. It breaks the patterns that felt safe. It burns the lies you built your life around. The old self falls apart, piece by piece. That is why Rumi wrote that love is the alchemy of the soul. It destroys the metal so gold can appear. There is a moment in love when you feel like you are losing yourself. Rumi said that this feeling is not the loss of the self. It is the loss of the prison. The ego calls it death. The soul calls it freedom. When you surrender to love, everything false dies. Everything real remains. But before the freedom comes the fire. Before the light comes the darkness. Before the rebirth comes the destruction. This is the law of transformation. Many people fear love because they fear this destruction. They say they want love, but they want it without risk. They want it without surrender. They want it without change. But Rumi said that a heart that refuses to break will never open. A soul that refuses pain will never awaken. Love breaks you so it can rebuild you. Love empties you so it can fill you. Love kills the lies so the truth can breathe. Rumi wrote that the ego dies in 3 stages. First it resists, then it breaks, and then it disappears like smoke. The first stage feels like fear. The second stage feels like chaos. The third stage feels like peace so deep that the mind cannot understand it. Most people never pass the first stage. The ego resists with everything it has. It creates doubt. It creates suspicion. It creates stories about danger. It tells you to run, to protect yourself, to keep the heart closed. The ego would rather live in a cage than risk freedom, because freedom means surrender. Rumi said that love does not ask the ego to surrender gently. Love pulls the ego into the light and shows its emptiness. The ego fights back. It tries to control the beloved. It tries to claim ownership. It tries to turn love into a transaction. The ego says love should feel safe, but Rumi said love should feel true. Safety is a comfort of the mind. Truth is a hunger of the soul. The ego fears truth. The soul is born from it. The second stage is the breaking. This is the part that feels like violence. The heart splits open. The ego loses control. The body shakes. The mind does not understand. Old wounds rise. Old fears scream. You feel naked. You feel lost. You feel like the world inside you is collapsing. Rumi said that this collapse is not a failure. It is the moment when the soul steps forward and the ego steps back. The ego calls it death. The soul calls it birth. Rumi compared this stage to fire melting gold. Gold does not want to melt. Fire forces it. The shape disappears. The form is destroyed. But the gold remains. Pure, bright, unbreakable. For Rumi, the ego is the shape. The soul is the gold. Love is the fire. This is why many people run from real love. They believe the fire will kill them. They believe the broken heart means the end. But Rumi said the broken heart is the doorway. Only a broken heart can hold true love because the walls are gone. The lies are gone. The masks are gone. What remains is real. What remains is open. What remains can finally feel. The third stage is disappearance. When the ego breaks completely, something strange happens. The fear is gone. The doubt is gone. The need to control is gone. You do not love because you want something. You love because love is your nature. You do not cling. You do not beg. You do not demand. You simply exist in a state of connection. Rumi called this the ocean. The small self dissolves. The soul becomes wide as the sky. In this state, there is no violence left, only peace. This peace is not soft, it is strong. It cannot be broken. Rumi said that most people think love is found in the beginning, but real love is found after the destruction, after the tears, after the fire, after the death of the old self. Before that, it is only attraction, desire, or fantasy. Real love begins when the ego is gone. Two souls meet without masks. Two hearts recognize each other without fear. That moment is what Rumi called union. But union cannot exist without surrender. Surrender cannot exist without the breaking. This is why he wrote that love destroys to create. This teaching scares people. It scares religions. It scares rulers. It scares anyone who depends on control. Because a person who has passed through this fire becomes free. Fear cannot control them. Shame cannot control them. The world cannot control them. They become like the wind. They move without chains. They love without permission. They speak truth without fear. This kind of person is dangerous to false systems. Rumi wrote that heartbreak is not a mistake. It is a teacher, a sacred teacher. Most people believe heartbreak means something has gone wrong. They think it is the end of love. But for Rumi, heartbreak is where love truly begins. When the heart cracks, the old fears leak out. The ego loses its throne. The soul steps into the center. The pain is not a punishment. The pain is purification. Imagine holding a cup full of muddy water. If you shake the cup, the mud rises. You see the dirt that was always there. Love shakes the heart. What rises is everything that kept you from feeling alive. The fear of abandonment. The fear of not being enough. The fear of being seen. These fears were inside long before love arrived. Love only revealed them. The pain is the proof that the heart is waking. Rumi said that a broken heart is a doorway that does not close again. Once the heart has cracked open, light enters, compassion enters, understanding enters. You begin to see the world through different eyes. Before heartbreak, you loved with hope and fear. After heartbreak, you learn to love without chains. You learn that love is not possession. Love is not control. Love is not a bargain. Love is a flame that burns away illusions. This is why Rumi wrote that lovers who survive the fire become immortal. Not immortal in the body, immortal in the soul. Once the ego dies, love no longer depends on the other person. The beloved becomes a mirror of divine love. The heart becomes a source of its own light. You do not cling. You do not beg. You do not chase. You love because love is what you are. Most people confuse attachment with love. Attachment is fear wearing the mask of devotion. Attachment says, "Do not leave me." Attachment says, "I need you to feel whole." Attachment says, "I will break if you are gone." Love says, "I am whole with or without you." Love says, "Your joy matters to me more than my comfort." Love says, "I want your freedom, even if it scares me." This is why love feels violent at first. It destroys attachment. Rumi wrote that the soul chooses pain when the mind would choose comfort. The soul knows pain burns away the lies. The soul knows comfort keeps the chains in place. The mind begs for safety. The soul begs for truth. The soul always wins in the end. Even heartbreak is a gift, because it breaks the cage. After the cage breaks, something new rises. Something fearless. Some people say love destroys them. They say they were torn apart, left in pieces. Rumi would say they were not destroyed. They were transformed. The person who walked into love is not the same person who walked out. A layer of illusion died. A deeper layer of truth was born. That is why Rumi said lovers are chosen by the fire. Only those who are willing to lose the old self can discover the new. Powerful love is rare because most people are not ready to lose themselves. They want love that keeps everything familiar. Rumi wrote that familiar love is safe but small. Real love is wild. It takes you to places inside yourself you have never seen. It shows you your shadows. It shows you your light. It shows you the truth of who you are. Rumi wrote that love is a war fought inside the soul. Not a war against another person, but a war between truth and fear, between the soul and the ego, between who you are and who you pretend to be. Most humans live their whole lives under the rule of fear. Fear of rejection, fear of loss, fear of judgment, fear of being hurt again. But when love arrives, fear begins to lose its power. And fear does not die quietly. It fights back. It screams. It tries to run. This is why love feels like conflict at first. The heart wants to open, and the ego tries to close it. Rumi said that the beloved is both the healer and the destroyer. The beloved heals the soul and destroys the ego. This makes love feel confusing. You feel safe and terrified at the same time. You feel seen and exposed. You feel stronger than ever and more vulnerable than ever. The beloved shows you your beauty, but also your wounds. This is not a gentle lesson. It is a mirror that will not lie. When someone sees your soul, you cannot hide anymore. You cannot pretend anymore. The truth stands naked, and the truth often hurts before it heals. Rumi wrote that the bravest people in the world are the ones who dare to love deeply. Not because love is soft, but because love demands courage. To love is to risk your heart. To love is to let someone see you without your armor. To love is to say, "Here I am," even though you could leave, even though you could break me, even though I might lose everything. Most people are too afraid to do this. They want control. They want guarantees. But love offers no guarantees. Love offers transformation. The beloved is not always a person. For Rumi, the beloved was also the divine, the teacher, the truth, the breath that lives inside every human being. When the heart opens to this beloved, the ego feels like it is dying. The ego cannot survive in the presence of truth. The ego survives only in illusions, and love is the end of illusion. This is why love feels violent. It takes everything false and tears it away layer by layer. Rumi compared love to the sea. The sea is beautiful, but it is powerful. If you enter the sea without surrender, the waves will pull you apart. But if you surrender, the sea will carry you. The same is true for love. If you resist, it feels like death. If you surrender, it feels like freedom. Many people never surrender. They stand on the shore and watch. They dream of love. They talk about love. They write about love. But they never enter the water. They fear the waves. They fear the deep. They fear losing themselves. Rumi said that you cannot find the truth on the shore. You must enter the sea. Some say love changes the lover. Rumi said love destroys the lover and gives birth to a new one. The old one was ruled by fear. The new one is ruled by light. The old one protected their heart. The new one trusts their heart. The old one lived small. The new one lives wide as the sky. This is why real lovers glow. They carry fire inside their chest. They have survived the breaking. Now, they are free. But the journey is not finished. Rumi said that the fire does not burn only once. Love continues to test you. It continues to break what is false. Every time fear returns, the fire returns. Every time pride rises, the fire rises. Love does not allow lies to live inside the heart. Love is loyal to truth, not comfort. This is why many relationships fail. People want the feeling of love, not the transformation of love. They want the sweetness, not the fire. Rumi wrote that without surrender, love becomes obsession. The ego takes love and turns it into a cage. It tries to own the beloved. It tries to control their actions, their feelings, their future. The ego says, if you love me, you must stay, you must obey, you must give me what I want. But this is not love. This is fear wearing the mask of devotion. Real love does not imprison. Real love frees. The ego hates freedom. The ego believes that control will protect the heart from pain. If you control the beloved, they cannot leave. They cannot change. They cannot hurt you. But Rumi said that control is the seed of suffering. The more you try to hold someone, the more you lose yourself. The more you cling, the more you break. The ego wants ownership, but love wants expansion. The ego says you are mine. Love says you are free. Many people confuse possession with passion. They call jealousy a sign of love. They believe that fear of losing someone proves how deep the bond is. But Rumi said that the fear of losing someone comes from the fear of losing the false self. When the ego depends on the beloved for identity, love becomes a prison. The soul cannot breathe. The heart cannot grow. That is why Rumi wrote that the greatest proof of love is freedom. If you truly love someone, you want their happiness, not your control. Rumi believed that the beloved is a mirror, not a property. When you look into the mirror of love, you see your own soul. You see your wounds, your beauty, your shadows, your growth. The beloved helps you transform. The beloved challenges your fears. The beloved wakes the sleeping parts of your heart. But the beloved cannot save you. Love is not rescue. Love is awakening. If you lean on the beloved to escape your pain, the love will collapse. Pain must be faced, not avoided. This is another reason love feels violent. It refuses to let you hide. When love touches your heart, the truth rises. The truth may be painful. The truth may be frightening. But the truth is the only path to freedom. The ego hides in lies. The soul shines in truth. Rumi said that lovers are not afraid of truth. They are afraid of lies. Lies poison the heart. Lies kill connection. Lies turn love into control. Only truth can keep love alive. People who love from the ego say, "I need you." People who love from the soul say, "I choose you." One is a chain. The other is a gift. One is fear. The other is freedom. The ego begs. The soul trusts. The ego expects. The soul accepts. The ego says, "I love you because you love me back." The soul says, "I love because love is what I am." When love reaches this level, pain becomes transformation. Loss becomes wisdom. The beloved becomes a doorway to the divine. Rumi wrote that real lovers do not meet. They recognize. The moment the heart is ready, the beloved appears, not by accident, not by coincidence. The beloved arrives to destroy the lies you live with. The beloved arrives to push you beyond your limits. The beloved arrives to break you open. It is not comfortable. It is not gentle. But it is sacred. If you cling to the beloved, you lose the lesson. If you try to own the beloved, you lose the love. If you try to control the beloved, you lose yourself. Rumi said that the heart that truly loves does not close its hand. It opens it. It trusts the path. It surrenders to the fire, because the fire leads to freedom. Rumi wrote that many lovers meet only to separate. People think separation means failure. They think it means the love was not real. But Rumi said the opposite. When two souls meet with truth, something begins to burn. Old identities fall apart. Old wounds rise. Old fears wake. Sometimes the fire is too intense for both hearts at the same time. The ego becomes scared and tries to escape. The mind does not understand what is happening. The body wants safety. So the lovers separate. Not because the love ended, but because the transformation became too powerful. Rumi wrote that separation is also love. Separation forces the heart to grow alone, without the comfort of the beloved, without the illusion of control, without the noise of desire. In separation, love becomes pure. Anyone can love when the beloved is close. Only a brave heart loves in silence. Only a true heart loves without touch. Separation is where the ego dies completely. You realize that love was never about possession. Love was never about guarantees. Love was never about the physical world. Love was always a fire inside the soul. Most people believe love disappears when the relationship ends. But Rumi said real love never ends. If love can end, it was never love. It was attachment. Attachment needs presence. Love needs truth. Attachment says if you leave, the love dies. Love says even if you leave, my heart remains open. The ego loves with conditions. The soul loves without chains. That is why Rumi wrote that the deepest love is invisible to the world. It lives in silence. It lives in the heart. It lives in the soul. Some lovers are not meant to stay. They are meant to awaken you. They are meant to break you open. They are meant to destroy the old self and reveal the soul. People ask why the beloved comes if they do not stay. Rumi said the beloved comes when the heart is ready to change. When the lesson is learned, the beloved may leave. The mind calls it loss. The heart calls it rebirth. The soul calls it destiny. Love is not measured by time. Love is measured by transformation. Rumi believed that every beloved is a teacher. Some teach joy. Some teach pain. Some teach surrender. Some teach freedom. But every teacher only teaches one truth. Love is your essence. Love is who you are. When you realize that, you stop chasing love outside yourself. You stop begging. You stop needing. You stop breaking at the thought of loss. You become whole. You become peaceful. You become light. Then, if love returns, you welcome it with an open hand. If love does not return, you remain open anyway. Because the love you carry inside cannot be taken from you. This is the final stage of Rumi's path. The stage where love is not a storm anymore. Love becomes the sky. The heart holds everything, pain and joy, presence and absence, beginning and ending. Everything is allowed. Nothing is feared. The lover becomes fearless. Loss cannot destroy them. Distance cannot break them. Silence cannot scare them. They have passed through the fire. They have survived the breaking. Now they are free. People think the greatest love is the one that lasts forever. Rumi said the greatest love is the one that awakens the soul. Sometimes that love stays. Sometimes it leaves. But its purpose is the same: to show you who you are, to show you the truth inside your chest, to turn your heart into a flame. Rumi wrote that the final transformation of love is dissolution. Not the dissolution of the body, not the dissolution of the mind, the dissolution of the small self, the self that fears, that clings, that demands, that doubts. When that self disappears, only love remains, a love that is not directed at one person, but at existence itself, a love that sees the divine in every face, a love that radiates without asking for anything in return. At this stage, the heart becomes silent, not an empty silence, but a full silence, a silence where there is no war between the ego and the soul, a silence where the mind does not argue with the heart, a silence where you accept the world as it is without trying to bend it to your fear. This is the peace that Rumi spoke of, not the peace of comfort, the peace of surrender, the peace that comes after the storm, after the fire, after the breaking. A person who reaches this state is different. They move through the world softly, but with unshakable strength. They are not controlled by desire. They are not paralyzed by fear. They do not seek approval. They do not run from pain. Their heart is open like a window that never closes. They love without needing. They give without losing. They see beyond the surface of people. They see the pain behind anger. They see the fear behind pride. They see the soul behind the mask. Rumi said that a person who has passed through the violence of love becomes a healer without trying. Their presence changes others. Their silence comforts others. Their truth wakes others. They do not force. They do not preach. They simply exist in a state of love, and everyone who touches their energy feels it. The ego cannot understand this. The ego thinks love is an exchange. The ego thinks love is a transaction. But the soul knows love is a state of being. This is why Rumi's words survived centuries, not because they were soft, but because they were true. He did not write to make people comfortable. He wrote to set them free. He wrote for the hearts that were ready to burn. He wrote for the souls that were ready to break. He wrote for the lovers who knew that love is not a safe path. Love is the most dangerous journey a human being can take, because it destroys everything false and leaves only truth. So when someone asks why love hurts, Rumi would answer, because you are changing, because the person you were is dying, because the person you are becoming needs space to breathe. The pain is not a punishment. The pain is the door. If you walk through it, you will meet yourself on the other side. And that self will not be ruled by fear. That self will not be broken by loss. That self will not be controlled by the world. That self will be love. If you are watching this and you have felt the fire of love, if you have felt the breaking, if you have felt the storm inside your chest, know this: you are not alone. You are not weak. You are not lost. You are transforming. And everything you are feeling is part of the path. Do not close your heart. Do not run from the pain. Let the fire burn what is false. Let the heart stay open. Let the soul grow. If you want more stories like this, more hidden wisdom, more teachings that speak to the heart, subscribe to this channel, like this video, and leave a comment. Tell me what part of this message touched you the most. Your voice matters. Your heart matters. Your journey matters.